Okay, so this is still chapter 16, heparin administration, and this one I'm just going to help you work out. A provider orders a heparin bolus of 95 units per kilogram intravenously. So I'm going to put that down here, 95 units per kilogram intravenously. The patient weighs 110 kilograms. And the pharmacy provides heparin in a concentration of 10,000 units per milliliter. And it says round to the whole number. So, and we want to solve for milliliters. So that tells us what we're going to start out with. So milliliters. Here's my sentences. So I'm looking through there, finding what I have for milliliters, and there it is. So I have 1 milliliter over 10,000 units. This is units. Units has to come next. That's gone. And now I look up here, and here's my other units. So 95 units per kilogram. And if that's kilograms, kilograms has to come next. That's now gone. So now I plug in my 110 kilograms, and that goes just over 1 because we don't have anything associated with that up in our problem. Units would cancel out, kilograms cancel out, leaving us with milliliters. So now we just do the math across. So 95 times 110 gives us 10,450 over 10,000. And that gives us 1.045. And here it says round to the whole number, so that's going to be 1 milliliter. Okay, now we have another example for this week's questions. So a patient has a continuous heparin infusion running at 1,800 units per hour. The infusion bag hanging has 25,000 units in 500 milliliters of 5% dextrose solution. According to the hospital's heparin protocol, the heparin infusion should be decreased by 100 units an hour. And we want to know the new milliliters per hour. So with these, what you have to kind of look at, because you'll notice that all of our information is in units here, and so we don't have any milliliters per hour, but we can get to that by figuring out kind of we'll say, what's the next step? What do we need to do? So ultimately, we want to figure out our new units per hour by subtracting this, because we can see here that we can do that very easily. So ultimately, all we have to do there is do 1,800 units per hour minus our 100 units per hour. And then that gives us 1,700 units per hour. Now, is that what we want? We want milliliters per hour, not units per hour. So now I'm going to mark this one out because we've already used it. I'm going to mark this one out. We've already used it. So this is my new sentence, and this is a sentence. So now let's use our milliliters per hour solving for. So I see here of this we have 500 milliliters over 25,000 units. If that's units, units has to come next. And here I'm going to plug in our new units per hour, so 1,700 units per hour. and that's going to give us, because our units would cancel out, 500 times 1700 gives us 850,000 over 25,000, and that gives us 34 milliliters per hour as our new milliliters per hour that's infusing for those changes of minusing or decreasing our heparin by 100. And then we have my last example here. So we have a patient has a continuous heparin infusion running at 15 milliliters per hour. The infusion bag currently hanging has 25,000 units per 500 milliliters, and that's here. And then I have, it says, according to the hospital's heparin protocol, the heparin infusion should be increased by 200. So I want to put this, increased by 200 units per hour. So for this one, you kind of have to look at it as well and go, what are we solving for? And we want to know our new units per hour. So this is what we have currently infusing in. This is what we have on hand. And this is what we want to increase it by. So we are going to start with units. Now if you'll notice here, we have two things that have units in them. And what we ultimately want to do, we want to figure out how many units are in this 15 milliliters per hour. And once we do that, we can then subtract our 200 units. If you want to think of it as, let's always save this to the end, to subtract your increase or decrease in the amount of heparin, that's fine. So in this case, we're going to use our 25,000 units per 500 milliliters. And then if that's milliliters, milliliters has to come next, and then we're going to plug in our 15 milliliters per hour. And then our milliliters would cancel out. So then we have 25,000 times 15 gives us 375,000 over 500 gives us 750 units per hour. And then, so we want to increase our heparin infusion, which we just changed this to this. So we are going to add 200 units per hour. So ultimately all you have to do there is add those two. So 950 units per hour is our change that we have, adding our 200 units and had this rate of 15 milliliters per hour.